Hello, Star Citizens, and welcome to yet another video. I know this is a crazy day for videos. I think this is my third video today. So I wanted to do a not really reaction to ISC first person assertion. I already watched it. So what I want to do actually is just go through what was in it in case you missed it or you were so excited and giddy that you just were speaking over it and yelling over it and or also just to give my assessment of what they actually showed in the video and what's coming. But before I do that, I do want to say I have my first ever channel member, and let me look up his name because I don't want to get his name wrong. My first ever channel member meaning somebody who has bought a membership to the channel. His name is Raygun972. So this actually happened 13 days ago, and for some reason the icon didn't show up for me. It didn't actually tell me that I had a channel member, so I just found out today. So I don't know if it's just the way I am or whatever, but I guess I just like giving stuff away. So I told Raygun972 in a members only post, of course, that I'm going to give them a skin for being my first ever channel member. So I'm going to let them pick the skin, and it has to be a currently available one. So if you're listening, Raygun972, go ahead and pick out a single skin from RSI that's on the RSI pledge store, and I will be sending that to you just as a thank you for being my first ever channel member. If you didn't know, I do have a membership for this channel where there's different levels. Now the levels, I don't really know how to do levels. So if you go and you look at them, there's like a $2 one that's like Guinea, and it has loyalty badges, priority reply to comments, and then members only polls. Then the tuning one is you get all the other stuff, and then you get member shout outs. You also get early access to new videos. Jonine is discounted merchandise, which I haven't started selling yet. Exclusive members only videos where I'll do a video and it's just going to be you're the only people that have access to that video, and then that'll be Discord access when I start the Discord. Then I'll have the Hokage Ninja, which is $25. That's gameplay with you or gameplay with me, and then photos and status updates, members only live streams, and then you get to help decide what's in the next video. Now, mind you, you don't have to do any of this. This is always very much so appreciated. I'm only providing these because it's just a feature on YouTube, right? So you could just watch videos and never become a member, and that is all you need to do for this channel. This is just giving you kind of an insight into this membership level thing. If you want to do it, totally optional. In fact, I'm not even asking you to do it. I'm just telling you that it's here. All right. So then I went all the way up to like $100 because I was trying to, be insane. Like the Billionaire Ninja one is the $50 a month, and then you get access to monthly video meeting discussion. You get exclusive wallpapers, exclusive gifts. You get a 1-hour virtual video collaboration, and you get to pick a perk, right? So we can have a discussion about a potential perk that you get for being that level of a member. So my guess is I'll probably change that because I've figured out a few things. Like I'll probably add in there that you'll be entered to win like a skin, and if you're the only member, of course, then you automatically win that skin, right? Or it'll be like you get automatically entered to win a ship or something like that, right? So, and of course, if you're the only member, you automatically win that ship if you're the only member at that level, right? So that's what I think I'm going to end up changing that to. And then there's the crazy one, the $100. I mean, all of these are pretty crazy once you get past the $10 one. But I just wanted to provide this option. So you get personal phone number access, means I'll have a phone, obviously, like everybody else does. And I'll just send you my cell phone number, and then you can text me whenever, Doesn't mean I'll like answer every 5 minutes, right? But it's just, just more access, I guess, to me. And then you get a 3-hour virtual video collaboration. So, it could just be us talking. It could be, maybe you have some content. Maybe it's you want us to play Star Citizen together, whatever it is. And then you get to pick 3 perks. And again, I'll probably change that too. So the Takaroo is definitely coming with a ship skin every month. So you're going to get a ship skin every month or armor set every month. It's going to be one of those 2 every month. You're going to get an armor or a gun or a ship skin every single month. Then maybe I'll add 2 of those. So maybe you get an armor and a ship skin or something like that. And then you actually will, once you create the membership, we'll discuss whether, what type of other perk you want, right? And of course, I'm not going to agree to anything too crazy, but I will have that conversation with you and see what we can come up with together. So yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels of membership. Tell me what you think about those in the comments. If you think I should, I think that's all the levels I can add. I don't think I can add any more, but yeah, so it's $2, $5, $10, $25, $50, and then $100, right? So again, you do not have to be a member of the channel. I am going to do unique things for the members that are not listed here though. So, Ginning level, you're going to have things that are unique for you. Shooting level, which is the $5, you're going to have things that are unique for you. Jonin, you're going to have a lot of things that are available to you. And then Hokage and Billionaire Ninjas, you're going to have things that are unique to you, not just at your level, but that are unique to you that I will do specifically for you as a member of that level. So, and Takaroo is like, did we just become best friends? Like, I don't know. Is it really your best friend if they're paying $100 to do it? But anyway, yeah, just a quick, idea there. Just know I really do like giving away things. Like, I feel like I'm gonna be Star Citizen's Mr. Beast but I don't want to make you like compete for it. I just want to give it away. So, as the channel grows and as the memberships grow and things like that, I definitely plan on paying that back to the community that is supporting me. So, yep, just wanted to throw that in there in a random video that's about ISC that has nothing to do with it. But yeah, so here we go. So I want to talk about this ISC. So basically there's this question, right? Going into a first-person shooter episode, right? It's 930 years in the future. You still have to reload. Why? Because shouldn't everything be like automatic, or shouldn't bullets be so tiny that, there's some reason why we shouldn't have to reload, because we should be past reloading in the future? Well, because of gameplay, right? Like, it's still a video game that we're playing in 2024. We're not playing it in 2954. We're playing it in 2024. So yes, we need to reload, right? Until we figure out in 400 years a new way to still have this type of gameplay, but with some unique version of reloading, right? So yes, we need to reload because of gameplay. It's also a preparation thing. Like, you need to plan out how much ammo you're going to take with you, what kind of ammunition, like what type of armor does the enemy have, so on and so forth. That adds like a level of skill to it, right? We do want to be able to be skilled at this game. You gotta remember, it's not an RPG in the way of like dynamic, or in the way of skill progression. Like, oh, I go up to level 14 after I kill 15 enemies or nothing like that, right? You literally have to get better at the game. And we want people who've been playing and putting in the hours to be better at the game than people who just started, right? Because you want there to be some type of reward for putting more hours into the game. So yes, you have to reload, even though it's 930 years in the future. So then it says coming in 3.23, backpack reloading will take longer, but it'll make it to where you don't have to go into your inventory to get it. So this is more of a quality of life improvement. It makes it so it doesn't stop combat flow, right? So if you don't have to go to some random screen and then check your backpack and move the stuff from your backpack into your regular inventory, like, that's game breaking, right? It's not you kind of think of it as like, okay, well, that's the balance, right? It takes you a long time to do that. Well, backpack balancing still needs to be a thing even with this, right? Like the time that we get in 3.23 is not going to be the final time, right? This isn't going to be it takes 15 seconds to do it from your backpack, but it takes 10 seconds to do it regularly. So you're only losing 5 seconds. So I might as well just put all of my ammo in my backpack or something like that, right? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to keep balancing it. So if it's 10 seconds for regular reload, maybe they drop that to 5 seconds and keep backpack at 15 seconds, whatever it is, right? And if you've ever played FPS shooters consistently, you know that those seconds are a long time to not be able to shoot your weapon, right? So most of the time in first-person shooters, you just switch your weapon and then you don't worry about it. So yes, we do need to make sure that backpack reloading is balanced. So the next thing they talked about was FPS combat being like tactical, and I think it has to be tactical in the same way that the ship combat is tactical. You need to know what type of weapons, type of ammo, and how much of each you'll need, right? So I talked about that a little bit already. I really want this to be a deep first-person shooter. You know, I think we focus so heavily on the ship combat aspect that we forget that might end up being one of the greatest first-person shooters we've ever seen as well, just because of how much effort and time they've had to put into it. So let's see what they come up with. Then there's this idea of condensing or repooling magazines with all available ammo, right? So this will be mapped to an action key now, right? So basically, if let's say you have 2 magazines, you have one that has 5 bullets in it, and then you have another that has 7 bullets in it, right? And the total magazine capacity is 16, right? So I know I'm making you do math. So essentially you add the 5 to the 7, right? And now you have 12 bullets in one magazine, and then you have an empty magazine, right? And you could still add 4 more bullets to that magazine, right? But what happens is you now throw away that empty magazine and you just keep the pooled magazine. So that's why they call it condensing or repooling a magazine, because you're pooling your bullets together in one magazine. So some people call magazines clips, but yeah, whatever you want to call it. So essentially now that you've repooled your ammunition, you can then toss that magazine and now it doesn't take up a slot in your inventory. So you don't have to keep empty magazines in your inventory. So, and this is going to take different times depending on what type of ammunition and what you're doing, right? So it might be that energy weapons repool much faster or much slower. Maybe ballistic ammunition is much faster, or maybe whatever type of ammunition is just kind of going to dictate how fast it takes, or what action you have to do. Maybe like for a rocket or grenade launcher, you have to actually kneel down to repool because the ammunition is so heavy. So I think that's going to be really cool, but that's only going to be with like regular weapons for now. Throwables and consumables they mentioned in the video, coming after 3.23. So either in a further patch, or maybe in a sub update like 3.2, 3.1, or 0.2, something like that. Then there was recoil. So recoil makes you have to be skilled with the weapon to be accurate. It creates like a practice aspect. So as I said before, I do think you want people to be skilled in this game. You don't want people to just hop in and just be the greatest shooter ever, unless you already have a lot of time spent with first-person shooters, right? Obviously those people are going to be better at the start than people who never put their hands on a first-person shooter before, right? And one thing that they didn't talk about that I'll talk about later is like the armor idea behind this. So I'll talk about that later though. So recoil makes you have to actually aim and actually point at the target and make sure that you're hitting where you want to hit. Now I hope that they have some serious anti-cheat with this stuff, because you don't want to be an arena commander and have somebody that has automatic aim on or something like that, or an aimbot or something, and like that would kill it. So please folks, just play the game right. If you're playing multiplayer modes, like I don't care what you do in PvE, but like for PvP, let's keep that outside of the cheat aspect. So recoil is there for lasers, because a lot of people were arguing about like, oh, it's a laser, we don't have well, we don't have real laser weapons. How do you know whether they have recoil or not? Like, how do you know? There's so many people that are like, laser weapons wouldn't have recoil because they don't have the explosion that happens inside of we don't have laser weapons, folks. We have laser beams that you can like that come out of something that obviously don't have recoil, but it's just a beam of light, continuous. So of course it wouldn't have recoil. It's just, I don't know. I don't know where people are getting this from. We don't have real lasers. But also, even if we had real lasers and they didn't have recoil, it wouldn't make sense in a game. You have to have the skill element, right? If they got rid of recoil, they would have to balance it in some other way. So you might have like the damage of laser weapons is drastically lower because there's no recoil. So yes, your aim is perfect every single time, but it doesn't do as much damage. So now, I mean, it's going to be balanced one way or another. And I'd rather my lasers do the same amount of damage as anything else. And maybe I don't have to worry about reloading or something like that. Maybe lasers just overheat or something like that. And then now I don't have to worry about the reloading part at all. And that's why you would get a laser weapon rather than get something else, right? So like I can imagine my pistol being like a laser weapon, right? But a very powerful laser weapon. So if I run out of bullets for anything else, maybe all my other weapons are ballistic, and then I keep this laser weapon in case everything else fails, and then I could just pull out my laser weapon and then keep fighting with it, and I don't have to worry about reloading it, right? So then there's this thing called procedural recoil. This means that your recoil makes you aim wild, not in a straight line, right? So this is, you know, coming with sniper rifles and pistols in 3.23, right? So essentially what would happen is you do the recoil thing, and then when you shoot, your marker would either move left or right or up or down, like in a perfect line. And now when now your recoil will be based off the last position of where it was aiming. So it'll be, if you were shooting straight and then you shot and then your recoil made the gun look upwards, the next shot will make it go even further up, or maybe it'll go left this time, maybe it'll go diagonally to the left, right? So it makes it to where your recoil is a lot more realistic, basically. Then they talked about new scopes and eyesight. So moving the eyesight camera to make target acquisition correct. So normally when you look down the sight, it doesn't really change your perspective. So you don't really know exactly where your bullet's going to land. But now they moved the eyesight camera to where when you look down the sight, it moves to the sight to make your target acquisition actually where you're shooting the bullet at, right? And a lot of what they've done, the graphics team, I guess, has now made it look like there's an actual scope rather than just like you're looking through some, you know, periscope or something, like a submarine or something. Like now you have this view of like your eye doesn't become the scope. You can actually see the exterior of the scope, and then the scope visual inside of the scope looks exactly like it would look in real life. Well, not exactly, but it looks similar to how it would look in real life. Then they've added multiple zoom levels on scopes, which are coming in 3.23, which I did not expect. So we're gonna get 8x, we're gonna get 16x, and we're gonna get 2x. And I think he mentioned one more, but I didn't catch it. So that's awesome. I think right now we only have 3x. So yes, 8x, 16x, and 2x are coming, which is incredible, especially if you're a sniper and you just want to take people out from a distance. That 16x is going to be incredible. So dynamic crosshair is confirmed for 3.23, so a combat visor is required for dynamic crosshair. The crosshair is more realistic for aiming down sight, which is, if you don't know, that aiming down sight is ADS, right? So first person shooter talk is, we say, instead of saying aiming down sight, we say ADS, right? So as well as aiming from the hip, you'll still have the crosshair. So generally, how does this make sense, right? So in your combat visor, you'll always have a crosshair. Now you can turn this on and off, as well as hit markers. You can turn all that stuff off in the menu if you don't want it, but you'll always have a crosshair. So regardless of where your weapon is aiming, you'll always have a crosshair. So then when you aim your weapon without looking down the sight, like if you're just hip firing it, it'll show you where the bullet is going to hit from your combat visor. Now that's only going to be if you have a combat visor on, right? So maybe the rest of your armor is in combat, but you have a combat helmet on, or maybe you have a modification to a helmet that gives it the combat visor role, right? So that is something that I think is really cool. It really gives you a reason to wear combat armor besides the fact that, you know, it's tougher armor. So This is all, of course, stuff you can get rid of if you don't like it in the menu, and I'm glad that they added that because some people will not want that. Then you have weapon manufacturers now being able to add a little bit of personality to their guns because of all these changes, right? So you might have Kostak Arms where they might make weapons that have less recoil but longer load times, and then Gemini might only do energy weapons, right? But maybe they have better scope options than Kostak, or more points on the weapons to add scopes or accessories to the weapon. So I think that's going to be really cool. Like, you're going to be able to look at a manufacturer and be like, oh, this manufacturer suits my play style perfectly, and maybe this one only suits my play style for PvP, and then this other one suits my play style for PvE, and so on and so forth. Then you have wear and tear for weapons. That's not going to be in 3.23, and I'm hoping that they very much so balance that, because I don't want to have my weapon just be destroyed just because of some random reason, right? I want it to be, I used it a lot and I didn't clean it, so of course it wears faster. But if I clean my weapon every time, I want it to be like real life, where these things last a long time. And the only time they really get that wear and tear is if you use it improperly, right? Like if you don't clean it and then you try to fire it and then it jams a bunch of times, right? Maybe a part will break and now you have to go get it repaired, right? That makes sense. But if I'm cleaning my weapon and taking care of it, I don't want wear and tear to really even be a thing. Like, unless it's super long term, right? Like, I want it to be like, 6 months before my weapon starts to actually wear from usage. And then I want to be able to repair it. I don't want to just have to throw it away and get a new one, because that weapon it's got bodies on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want my weapon to be like known throughout the verse as like, this is the destroyer or something, right? Like, and I'm, reputation is a thing, right? I want it to be known, like, I got this gold pistol that I be, popping heads with, So I'm just saying, I want wear and tear to not be a part of the game that detracts from it. I want it to be something that just makes you have to take certain actions so that certain things don't happen. And to my armor comment that I wanted to say before, right? So one of the things about armor, armor is moving into being a part of the archetype system in 3.23. So combat armor has the dynamic crosshair. You can imagine a blast suit armor that protects against mining and explosive blasts, or maybe, it's a grenade blast. And then there could be like a cold weather suit that insta melts ice from your visor so you can see more clearly during a snowstorm, right? You can imagine those things happening, right? So each armor has its own little thing, right? But one of the things I want to know is, with armor, like, I want to make sure that armor also has this practice element to it, right? So I want people to not really know what this armor is going to do unless they've actually looked at the stats, right? It shouldn't be immediately apparent. Like, you should actually, when you go and buy armor, you should have to look and see, okay, this provides like 0.5 damage reduction, meaning it halves all of the damage that hits the armor or something like that, right? And I want people to have to really look at those stats to determine which armor is going to be best for them. And I want each armor to have, some level of usability in another, class, right? So yes, I have a blast suit, right? But that should also protect me from bullets, because that just makes sense, right? It should protect me from bullets, but maybe it doesn't protect me from bullets as much as some combat armor would, right? So I don't want these just like, this armor only does one thing or this armor only does one thing, unless those are like the best of the best in that class, right? So like, if you find this ultra rare blast suit armor, maybe it completely negates all mining and explosive blast damage, right? But that's all it does, right? Because of the special material it's made out of or something like that, right? So that would make sense. So I just want armor to be a part of the meta as well. Like, I want it to be like, you have to really focus on what you're taking with you and bring the right tools for the job. So yeah, that is really, I don't know if you want to call it my assessment of first person assertion or ISC. I don't even know what to call these, right? I've already watched it. You probably already watched it. I just didn't want to keep doing reaction videos. So I made this one more of a, look, I watched it, you watched it, these are my thoughts. All right. So yeah, I'll just call it my thoughts. All right. I am done with this one. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.